Geri, this is your April 5th, 2025 lesson. Huge progress throughout it. Okay, so this first image is your like a really smooth half swing at the start of the lesson. So let's take a look at this. Now, this is part of the educational program. We have to look at this and immediately tell there's something drastically wrong, right? Okay. This is the learning part. So you take it back, and it's reasonably on plane, and then as you start down, see how that shaft gets steep compared to the yellow line? And this is checkpoint number one. When the hands are waist high, the shaft has to be on your forearm. Every good player has a shaft in the forearm, and it doesn't matter the club or anything else. It has to be there. Yours is here. So this is checkpoint number one, and what we have to do is train ourselves to spot it. Okay, so that's number one, and I'll give you a picture of it. So then the next checkpoint, this is where it goes strangely bad, is the next checkpoint, you might want to write this down, is when the shaft gets parallel to the ground. Let me draw something else. So the purple line, okay, so here's where the where the club head is, and here is where it needs to be. So just in this quarter swing, we're off. Okay. So these are indications that it's too steep. The ball is going to go left. It's going to be fast. We're going to have to jump out of the way, otherwise it's going to stick a fork in the ground a foot behind the ball. So picture this, back to that first half swing, quarter swing, and this is why you're too steep. So this is your top position. Now watch how your left shoulder just starts spinning. See how that left shoulder spins? So as it spins and goes around kind of this direction, see it's leaving the building quickly? Okay, that throws the hands out and starts the steepness. So, you know, that's the third thing we're looking for in this start image, or start swing. And we talked about spinning the shoulders, which is probably the number one cause of too steep. And then we talked about dropping the hands as the shoulder stalls out, so kind of keeping your back towards the target for the first one or two counts of the downswing. So this is what we came up with. See how you're dropping your arms, dropping your hands, but that shoulder hasn't spun. See that? So we froze the shoulder, and then we get to this spot, which you can see how the shaft is on your forearm, and then this is kind of a segmented swing, and then we dropped it down, and we end up in a perfect spot here. Now the shoulder starts rotating as it should, and that ends up with a really good swing. So the shoulder freezes back to the target. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 clicks, and then it starts rotating as it should. as the hands get waist high, now it starts rotating. You could play with that swing. Oh, by the way, this top position is perfect, and you got there by thinking it's a half arm swing. You thought this was like a chip shot thing. It's in perfect position. You know how you started, the club head was over here. So that's really good position. So you have to think that. We tried to apply the same thoughts to a full swing with a 7-iron, and we ended up with this. Again, it's kind of slow motion, but you got to do it slow speed before we have a chance. So look at this. So look at that top position. It's like perfect. You know, position is really good. In the old days, it was the club head was like over here or something, whereas the shaft is not exactly on plane, but close enough, because now watch, that shoulder is frozen again, so back to the target as you drop your hands and look, perfectly on plane. Look at this thing. And the shoulder still hasn't rotated, so your back's to the target, waist high are your hands, and then the shoulder starts rotating. But look at this. Okay, so this is, for you, checkpoint number 1. See how the shaft is right on your forearm? Previously it was out here, and then the next one, look, this is a fabulous swing, right where the club head should be, and previously it was clear out here. So you hit the 2 checkpoints, and then you mix that with this great little impact follow-through. Apply those concepts to the club that you couldn't hit Friday or Thursday. So this is the club that must have been defective. It couldn't have been user error, but applying the new concepts, we end up with this swing. Okay, by now you'll know that it's totally playable. Okay, even though, so we gotta do better at stopping it there. Okay, but oops, yeah. So you stop it there, but instead you go like this. But see, that isn't bad compared to where it was, you know, a couple weeks ago. It was out here, wrapped around your neck. So now, even with this position, isn't quite perfect at the top. Look, you come down, shoulder stays in, back to the target. You get right to this spot. Look at this. This is we're celebrating. Right on your forearm when the hands are waist high, and then when the club is parallel to the ground, the club head is slightly behind your hands, and then you go through and release. So you could play all day with this club that didn't work 2 days earlier with that swing. So let's go over the checkpoints again. So he takes it right to the top. From the top position, he takes it down. See his shoulder hasn't spun to this position, to this position. The shaft is parallel to the ground. His shoulders are still slightly closed. So he definitely didn't spin that left shoulder from the top, guaranteed.